Hi guys, this is Sadek from Dwadwin.com, and in this video, we'll show you how to install any GSI ROM on your Android phone without the use of PC. Apart from that, you don't even need to execute any fastboot command. Likewise, you don't have to boot to fastboot or the fastboot D mode. All the steps are carried out just on your phone, and your phone also should not be rooted. It works well and good on a non-rooted phone as well, and you don't require any custom recovery, and there is no need for any PC or fastboot D mode. And the best part is that you could flash the GSI ROM on top of your current stock firmware. There is no need to wipe the system partition as well. So at the same time, you could have two ROMs running. The first will be your current stock base ROM, and the second will be the GSI ROM which you are about to flash. So in this regard, you just need to do a simple restart, and then you will easily switch to the GSI ROM. And once you do one more restart, then you'll be back to the base firmware. So by a simple restart, you could easily switch between both this ROM, that is the GSI ROM and the base ROM. The GSI ROM will not replace the base ROM. You will have both the ROM on your phone, but both this ROM will have separate data partition. So all the data in the GSI ROM will not interact with the data of the base ROM. They both are separate, and you have complete control over the size of the data partition that you want to allocate. I'll show you how to do that as well. That will also be carried out right from your phone itself. Moreover, the process will not wipe off any data, but if you want to remove the GSI ROM, then that will wipe the data. So in that case, the data wipe will do, but simply flashing the GSI ROM will not wipe any data. But still, please take a backup of all the data just to be on safer side. Once that is done, let's get started. First and foremost, you have to unlock the bootloader. This is a must, and do keep in mind that doing so will wipe off all the data and it might nullify the warranty as well. So if that's well and good, then you could refer to a guide and then unlock the bootloader on your phone. Next up, you have to install the Trouble Check app from Play Store or the GitHub as well. So I've already downloaded the app. Let me now install it. So this is the Trouble Check app. Simply install this app. We'll use this app to verify if your phone supports Trouble Check or not. By default, all the phones which are launched with Android 8 or higher version out of the box supports Trouble Check. But still, let's verify once more. So launch the Trouble Check app, and as you could see, it's showing as supported next to Trouble Project. Trouble is showing supported. So if your phone is showing as supported, then only you could move ahead. Otherwise, this guide will not work for you. And as I've told you, as of now, near about all the Android phones support Project Trouble, so that's not a cause of concern. Next up, you will also have to note down the CPU architecture. So in my case, it's the 64-bit ARM. Make sure to note down the same value under CPU architecture. Again, most of the Android phone which are launched today comes with the 64-bit ARM itself. So your phone might also be of ARM 64-bit. So make sure that it's showing as Trouble supported and note down the architecture. We will be using this architecture to download the GSI ROM later on. Anyways, moving on, we'll now have to install the Shizuku app, and then we will make a wireless debugging so that we are not using the PC. So we'll make a wireless debugging from a phone itself. So for that, you have to install the Shizuku app from Play Store. I have the APK. Let me install the Shizuku app. So this is the app. Install the app. It should only take a few seconds. Now let's launch the Shizuku app, and under start via wireless debugging, wait, before that you have to enable USB debugging, and you have to enable developer option as well. So to enable developer option, go to the settings menu. From here, go to about phone and tap on build number 7 times. This will enable developer option. Now go to system, and developer option should be there. So let's now carry out this task. So let's now go to about phone and tap on build number 7 times. As you could see, I'm getting a prompt, you are now a developer. Now go back, go to system, and make sure that developer option is there. Once that's well and good, let's now launch the Shizuku app. Let me bring to the home screen as well. So let's launch the Shizuku app and then tap on pairing under start via wireless debugging. Tap on, and now you have to tap on notification option and enable the toggle next to all Shizuku notification. I'll show you this as well, because as to why we need to enable the notification, this will come in handy later on. I will show you that as well. As of now, just enable the toggle next to Shizuku notification. Now go back and now tap on developer option. From here, enable the toggle next to wireless debugging. Just a minute, and now tap on allow. After that, go to the wireless debugging section and then tap on pair device with pairing code. You will get the pairing code, and likewise you will now get a Shizuku prompt, as you could see. So you just need to type in the prompt over here, and this is the reason why we have enabled the notification for Shizuku, so that we could get this prompt. Anyways, now just type in the code that you have got and hit enter. you should get a message that pairing is progress and pairing successful. So now let's go back and let's go back to the Shizuku app. Again go back and now tap on start. In some cases you might get one more prompt. So if it's not started, then you simply have to disable and re-enable wireless debugging. In my case, it's now started, and as you could see, Shizuku is now running. So with this, the app is now running and we could now proceed ahead. So next up, you now have to download and install the DSU Sideloader app. This is the app using which we will install the GSI ROM onto our phone. So make sure to download and install the DSU Sideloader app from the GitHub. So this is his official page. From here, you have to go to the release section, and from release section, download the app release.apk. Don't download any of the other file, just download the app release.apk and install it onto your phone. So let's now install this app. So let me launch the app. This is the app release.apk. Let's install this app and then tap on open. You will now get a Shizuku prompt. So tap on allow all the time. Now you have to make a new folder where GSI file will be placed, and you have to give this app the access to that folder. So tap on setup and let's make a new folder on an internal storage and name this folder GSI. This is the folder where we'll be placing our GSI ROM. So let's name it GSI and tap OK. Now select the GSI folder as you could see and tap on use this folder. Then tap on allow. So the DSU Sideloader app will now use the GSI folder which you have just made. Next up, you have to grant it one more permission. So tap on grant. And with this, we have now set up the app. So let's now go ahead and download the GSI file of our choice. So I've given the link for both the custom GSI and the official GSI. So these are the official GSI from Google. As of now, you could see that the Android 14 GSI is also available, but it's quite early and there are quite a few bugs and issues. So please don't download Android 14 GSI. You should download the Android 13 or any of the below version 12 or 11. Or if you want to download a custom GSI, then you could again go to my link. These are the custom GSI link. And from here, you could download any custom GSI, whether the official or unofficial. As you can see, Instant OS, Project Elixir, Evolution X ROM, Android. So for the sake of reference, I'll be using the Evolution X GSI ROM. So make sure to download the ROM of your choice. As of now, I'm using the Evolution X ROM. And once you have done the download, you have to place the ROM inside the GSI folder. So I have just downloaded the ROM. Let me show you. This is the Evolution X ROM and this is the official Google GSI. I'll show you both this ROM. Let's first try out the Evolution X ROM. So let's move the Evolution X ROM simply to the GSI folder which we have just made. So let's move the ROM here and the ROM has now been moved. Let's verify the same. So go to the GSI folder and make sure you are now seeing the ROM file over here. So as you could see, the GSI ROM is now placed inside the GSI folder, and once that is done, let's now go back and let me show you once again. So this is the GSI ROM. So let's now go back and open the DSU Sideloader app. Let me bring the app to the home screen. So open the app and now select the file to be installed. Tap on it and then select the GSI ROM. After that, you could modify the data partition as well. By default, it will be given 2 GB. Out of 2 GB, most of the size will be taken by the system partition, and for you, I guess only around 200-300 MB will be left. So you could increase the partition up to around 8 GB or 16 GB, but as of for the reference, I'll be leaving it by the default 2 GB itself. As far as the image size is concerned, you don't have to check mark it, just leave it disabled and the app will take care of everything. You could only make changes to the data partition if you want, or you could leave it unchecked and it will allocate 2 GB size. So once you have loaded the Evolution X ROM or the GSI ROM, and once you have made the changes to the data partition, you just need to tap on install. And as you could see, by default it's showing as 2 GB. You could change this value, and once you have done, now tap on proceed, and it will now extract the GSI ROM, and after extraction it will then flash it as well. So one of the biggest benefit of using this app is that it does not require the use of PC. Likewise, you don't have to use the Fastboot command. Moreover, you don't have to even execute any Fastboot or Fastboot D mode, and you don't have to boot your phone to the Fastboot D mode as well. All the things are carried out right from the OS itself. You don't have to interact with your PC any point in time, and the entire process could work easily on a non-rooted phone as well. If you have a phone rooted, then that's also not an issue, but it works on a non-rooted phone as well, and you don't even need any custom recovery. The entire process usually takes up some time. It depends on the type of GSI that you are using. If you are using a custom GSI such as Evolution X ROM or Android, then the process takes around 10 minutes. On the other hand, the official GSI image usually takes only up to 10 to 15 seconds at the very max. So regarding this, since we have already checked the partition, in our case the CPU architecture was ARM64, so make sure to verify the type from the here and then only download the GSI. So if it's a GMS, then it means it has a Google mobile services, so you will be getting all the Google app packages and framework. If it's non-GMS, then you will not be getting any of these Google apps, but make sure to download the same which correspond to the architecture. As I have shown you before, in our case the CPU architecture was ARM64. So let me show you that once again. Just a minute. So as you could see from here, it's ARM CPU 64-bit ARM architecture. So if you're downloading an official GSI or even the unofficial GSI, make sure to check out the architecture and only download the one which is correspond to ARM64. As you could see, near about all the ROMs are ARM64 because all the phones nowadays comes with ARM64 as well. Apart from that, you also have to verify that your phone support Project Treble. As I told you before, every Android phone which comes with Android 8 or above out of the box should support this Project Treble. It is made mandatory by Google, so your phone should also support it. And if it's not supporting, then unfortunately you might not be able to flash the ROM using this method. But nowadays all the phones support the Project Treble, and most of the phones also have the 64-bit ARM architecture as well. Anyways, let's wait for the time frame. And once you have flashed this Evolution X ROM, you could simply boot to the GSI ROM by doing a simple restart. So currently I'm the stock based ROM, and upon doing a simple restart, I'll be back to the GSI ROM. And once I'm done with the usage, I can again do a simple restart, and then I'll be back with the stock based firmware. So all you need to do is do just a simple restart, and you could easily interchange between the two OS. There is no need to carry out any other task just by a simple restart. Moreover, if you want to change the GSI, for example, currently I'm flashing the Evolution X GSI. After that, I'll show you how to flash the Android official GSI image. In that case also, you don't have to do anything. Just simply replace the Evolution X GSI with the official Google GSI in the GSI folder and load the ROM over here, and it will be flashed. It will automatically replace one GSI with the second one. So in our case, it will automatically replace the Evolution X GSI with the Android official GSI. There will be no data wipe. Your data will not be gone during this process, but still please take a backup. The only time there will be a data wipe is when you want to remove the GSI from your phone, because for removal of GSI you could only do a factory reset. Apart from that, there exists no other method by which you could remove GSI. Well, you could also remove GSI by flashing the entire firmware, but that will take quite a lot of time and effort. So the shortest way of removing GSI is to simply do a factory reset. I'll also show you at the end how this could be done, but first I'll show you how to flash this Evolution X ROM, and after that I'll show you how to replace it with the second GSI, which in our case will be the Android 13 GSI. And after that I'll show you how to remove the GSI, and then we'll round up this video. So during the entire process, the factory reset will only happen if you're planning to remove the GSI. If you're just replacing the GSI, there will be no data wipe in replacing GSI. Moreover, as you could see, this is the step 2 of 2. In the step 1 of 2, it was extracting the XY image file, and the step 2 of 2 is simply preparing the image file. After this step has done, it will take around 15 to 20 seconds, and the flashing will then be completed. So let me show you, wait for the time frame. And for the unaware, this dynamic system DSU loader is now compulsory, and with every phone which launches with Android 11 or higher version should have this out of the box as well. So you could verify the same by going to the developer option, and you could see that the option to load the DSU will be there on your phone as well. So let me show you that as well. So if you go to the settings menu, so this is a Pixel phone. So let me show you the result of Pixel phone. So if you go to the system and then go to developer option, it's applicable across all the phones. Just for the sake of reference, I'm showing a Pixel phone. Now you should see an option which is known as, just a minute, the option should be in the developer option itself, DSU loader. So this is option, this feature comes built in with near about all the Android phone which has launched with Android 11 or higher version out of the box. If you tap on DSU loader, then it will automatically bring up a few GSI files. As you could see, it is bringing the official GSI files from Google. These are the same official files which we have shown here. The only reason I am not using the official method is because you cannot flash non-signed GSI file. In other words, you cannot flash the GSI file which are based on custom ROMs such as the Arrow OS or AOSP ROM, Ancient OS, Evolution X, you will not be able to flash those GSI ROM using this method. You could only flash the official GSI ROM from here. If you want, you could give it a try, but I haven't yet tried this method, so please take a backup beforehand and then try out. As of now, I only use the official method, which involves using the DSU Sideloader app. But if you want to check out that as well, then you could easily do so from the developer option and you could verify the same. So the flashing is now going on, and as I told you before, with custom GSI the process takes up to 10 minutes, whereas with the official GSI it only takes around 10 to 15 seconds at the very max. So it's just that. And if you have enabled the user data partition as well, and if you want to increase it to 8 or 16 GB, then it might take some more time. In my case, I simply left it at the default size, which is of 2 GB, so it will be the little bit shorter process. If you have enabled the user data size as well, and if you have made some changes to that, then the process will take some time. Once that is done, you will now get a prompt on your phone. Just tap on allow one-time access, and it will now process the system partition, and it will only take around 10 to 15 seconds. And with that, the flashing will be complete, and then we could easily check out the newly installed GSI ROM. So it's the last step of the process. So let's wait for the time frame. And currently we have given it the permission to check out the log access. Let me show you the screenshot as well. If you have missed that prompt, then let me show you once again. So the prompt which we have just got was regarding the log file. So just a minute. So the image in the center, as you could see, allow DSU Sideloader to access all device log. So we have given the access regarding this only, and once you have done the access, the process will now start and should only take around 5 to 10 seconds to process the system partition. And once that is done, you will be notified of the same. So as you could see, that validation is successful. Now you could simply close this app if you want, and from the notification panel you will get that dynamic system is ready. Just tap on restart. So I have flashed the Evolution X GSI ROM, and my phone will now reboot to that GSI ROM. Do keep in mind that the first boot will take up a few additional seconds. That's completely normal and nothing to worry about. From subsequent boot up, it will not take that much time. It's just for the first time setup that it will take that much time. So let's wait for the time frame, and I'll also show you the GSI ROM. And as I have told you before, the data partition of the GSI ROM will be completely different from the stock base firmware. Whatever file you download here, whatever app you install here, will not be shown in the base ROM, and whatever task you do on the base firmware will not be reflected here. Both have their own working environment and their own data partition. So you could think of it as two separate islands. Whatever task you do on one island will not be shown on the second. They both are completely segregated from one another, and you could make two profiles as well. So in my case, I use the GSI ROM as a work profile and the base firmware as a personal profile. So you could do that as well and have two profiles on two completely different OS. That's quite. So as you could see, our phone is now booted to the Evolution X ROM. I'll simply skip the initial setup so that we could boot up faster. So just a minute, let me complete the setup, and it should only take a few seconds. Let me skip all that stuff and let me skip that as well. And as you could see, we are now on the Evolution X ROM, and this is the Evolution X ROM running on the DSU GSI ROM. So these are the Evolution X, all the features you will be getting, which you can check out from here. And this is the PHA triple settings as well. These are specific triple settings for all the GSI ROMs. So you will find this section in near about all the GSI ROM, and this is the Evolver section specific to the Evolution X ROM. And you could verify the same from here. As you could see, this is the running the Android 13 build, the latest, and you could install updates directly from here. No need to take the help of any PC or anything like that. And you could see all the app which we have had on our base firmware, such as the Shizuku app and DSU Sideloader app, is not here in the GSI ROM because they both have separate partition. Likewise, you could see we have an app named Papers specific to Evolution X ROM, and we will not be having this application in our base firmware. Let me show you that as well. So let's now reboot our phone, and if you just go to the notification panel and just tap on restart, our phone will now boot to the stock ROM or the stock firmware. So you could also use the stock firmware as a custom ROM. In my case, the stock based ROM is the Pixel Experience ROM, as you might have noticed. So there is no need to have the stock base ROM as a stock firmware itself. You could use any ROM as a base firmware. So currently you could say I'm doing a dual boot. So in both the slots I am having two custom ROM. In the first slot I am having the Pixel Experience ROM, which is acting as a base firmware, and in the second slot I am having the GSI ROM, which is the Evolution X ROM. So as you could see, we are now in the Pixel ROM. This is my base firmware, and as you could see in the base firmware, I still have all the app, but there is no paper app. That paper app was for the Evolution X ROM, so there is no paper app over here. And with this, we are now in the base ROM, and again, you could just go to the notification panel and tap on restart, and then you will be back with the Evolution X ROM. So you could easily switch between both the base firmware and the GSI ROM just by doing a simple restart. So, and with this, we round off the first half of the video. Next up, let me show you if you want to switch to some other GSI ROM. For example, in my case, I currently had a Evolution X GSI ROM. Now let's switch to some other GSI ROM. So in my case, I'll be switching to the Android 13 GSI ROM. You could switch to any other ROM of your choice. So as let me show you, I have currently downloaded the Android 13 GSI ROM. This is the official Google Android 13 GSI. So first and foremost, what you have to do is go to the GSI folder on your phone, and from the GSI folder, just remove or move this your current GSI file to somewhere else. In my case, I am simply removing, or if you don't want to remove, you could simply move this file to somewhere else. Let me now move it to the download folder back. So make sure to remove the GSI ROM from the GSI folder, and now you have to place the new GSI ROM inside the GSI folder. In my case, the new GSI ROM will be the Google GSI ROM. This is the Google GSI ROM. So let's now move this Google GSI ROM to the GSI folder. So tap and move here, and with this we have moved the new GSI ROM in the GSI folder. The workspace folder is made by the app, and you don't have to interact with that. Just make sure to remove the older GSI file and replace it with the newer GSI file, as I have done in my case. Once that is done, the Shizuku app will not survive a reboot until you have a rooted phone. Since our phone is not rooted, so the Shizuku app is not running. As you could see, it's disabled, and as a result of this, the DSU app will also not work. So let's once again re-enable Shizuku. So just tap on start, and first and foremost we have to do the pairing. So go to the, let me show you, go to the pairing option, then go to developer option and enable wireless debugging, then tap on allow, then go to wireless debugging and tap on pair device with pairing code. You will get a code. Now type in this code in the Shizuku prompt, 634501, and hit enter, and with this the pairing is not successful. So let's now go back and launch the Shizuku app. Again, go back to its home page, just a minute, and tap on start, and as you could see, the Shizuku app is now started and it will run in 3 seconds, and with this Shizuku is now running. So if you are using the ADB command or wireless debugging, you will have to restart Shizuku every time after a device reboot. But if you are doing so using the root, then the Shizuku will survive automatic reboot and you don't have to do it every time. That's the major benefit of running Shizuku as a root. And if you don't have root, then you will have to start this process every time. So as you can see, currently Shizuku is now running via the ADB, which is the wireless ADB debugging. So now you could launch the DSU app, then again tap on installation and now select the new GSI ROM. So let me now select it, and with this you could again change the data partition if you want, or leave it default 2 GB. In my case, I'm leaving it default 2 GB. Don't interact with the image side, leave it as it is, and then tap on install. And as you could see, the default partition is 2 GB only. Then tap on proceed, and you will get a prompt. Tap on allow one-time access, and it will now process the system partition. And as you could see, the process will be this time faster because we are using an official Android 13 GSI. So in case of official GSI which are made by Google, the flashing is generally faster as opposed to the custom GSI, which takes up to around 10 to 15 minutes. So let's wait for the time frame, and it should only take a few seconds. And once the flashing is done, we could simply boot to the GSI folder, GSI ROM, that is. So as you could see, the flashing is now complete, and you will now get a prompt. So just expand this prompt and tap on restart, and this time our phone should now boot to the Android 13 GSI. So as before, do keep in mind that the first boot up might take up a few additional seconds. That's completely normal. You don't have to worry about that. So let's wait for the time frame. From the subsequent time, the boot up will not take that much time. It's just for the first boot up that might take quite a lot of time. So let's wait for the time frame. and then we will check out the GSI ROM. So as you might have noticed, the GSI ROM flashing only took around 10 to 15 seconds. That is the case with all the GSI ROM. Yes, one important thing to note is that you should only flash the GSI ROM which is of the same Android version or a higher Android version. Never do a downgrade using GSI. For example, in my case, my stock base firmware was Android 13, so I could flash either the Android 13 GSI or the Android 14. I cannot flash the Android 12 or 11 GSI. So please keep in mind that you should never downgrade your phone using a GSI firmware. So with that said, you could see our phone is now booted to the Android 13 GSI. I am skipping the initial setup screen. So let me skip all these things as well and skip this as well. And our phone should now be up and running. So as you could see, we are now in the Android 13 GSI. Let me show you the settings menu as well. And as you could see, this is the GSI on ARM64. It's the Android 13 based GSI file. As you could verify from here. And this is the Android 13 update. You could install the update directly from here itself as and when an update is available. And with this, as before, the data partition of this ROM is completely different from that base firmware. In my base firmware, we had the Shizuku app, which is not here. Likewise, we had the DSU app, which is not here. And in this app, we have a YouTube Music app and the Google Play Music as well, and the Google Duo as well. And all this file app will not be there on the base firmware. Let me show you that as well. So let's now reboot our phone to the base firmware. For that, just tap on restart in the notification, and your phone should now boot to the base firmware, which in my case is the Pixel ROM itself. So as I've told you before, currently I have custom ROM across both the slots. So I'm doing a dual boot using custom ROM. You could have a stock firmware and a custom ROM, or both custom ROM as well. That's not a cause of any concern. You could dual boot both the GSI or a stock firmware and a GSI. Just make sure to make changes to the second GSI file. The base firmware should be remain same across all the flashing. So in my case, the base firmware is the, as you could see, it's the Pixel ROM, and the Pixel ROM is same across all the flashing. Only I'm changing the second partition, which is the GSI ROM. Initially, I had the Evolution X ROM. Now I'm having the Android 13 file. But in both the cases, the base firmware was the same. So you have to at least keep the base firmware the same. With that said, as you could see, this is the I'm back to the base firmware, and all the file which I had in the Google GSI ROM is not here, and the file which I have here is not there in the GSI ROM. So guys, on that note, we round off this video. Just on a side note, I will now show you how to remove the GSI file. If you simply delete the GSI file from here, it will not do any good. Let me show you that. If you simply go to this folder and remove the GSI file from here, then your phone will again boot to the GSI ROM itself. Simply removing the file from here will not do any good. So if you go here and hit the, let me show you the delete button. So with this, we have removed the GSI file which we have flashed, but still, if you tap on restart, let me show you. I have removed the Android 13 GSI which I flashed onto my phone, and even after that, if I do a restart, I'll again boot to the Android 13 GSI. So simply removing the GSI file from your phone will not do any good. Your only course of action to remove the GSI is to do a factory reset or flash the stock firmware. In my case, I have been doing a factory reset, but before that, let me show you what I meant by the process. So as you could see, my phone is once again booting to the Android 13 GSI, even when I have removed the GSI file from my phone. And even if you remove the DSU Sideloader app as well, that will be of no good as well. So as you could see, my phone is still running. So your only course of action to remove the GSI from your phone is to do a factory reset. Apart from that, there is no other way apart from flashing the firmware or doing a factory reset. You could also flash the firmware if you want, but make sure to flash the stock firmware, which is your base firmware, if you want to remove the GSI. So in my case, if I want to remove the GSI, I could either do a factory reset or I will reflash the base firmware, which is the Pixel ROM in my case. So as of now, I'll show you how to do a factory reset to remove the GSI ROM. The process will only take a few seconds. So make sure to take a backup of all the data. This is because doing a reset will wipe off all the data from your phone. Once you remove the data, go to the settings menu. From there, go to system, then tap on reset option and tap on erase all data. Then tap on erase all data and tap on erase all data. With this, our phone will undergo a reset, and after that, it will automatically reboot to the OS. And with this, the GSI ROM will be removed from our phone. So this process might take up a few additional seconds. So let's wait for the time frame, and our phone will now undergo a reset. So as of now, I'm carrying out all the steps on a Poco F4. but the steps are applicable across all the Android phone. What matters is that your phone should be treble supported, and likewise, make sure to flash the same GSI ROM which correspond to your architecture. Apart from that, there is no other requirement. Just the GSI ROM architecture should be same. Your bootloader should be unlocked, and it should be treble supported. So as of now, we are removing the GSI ROM, and for that we have done a factory reset. And once the reset gets completed, it will remove all the data from our phone, and it will also remove the GSI ROM from our phone as well. So let's wait for the time frame, and the reset is just been completed, and our phone will now boot to the OS. Do note that the first boot up will take up a few additional seconds because we have just done the reset. So let's wait for the time frame, and then I'll show you the process. So it should now boot to the OS within a few seconds, and with this we are now in the Pixel Experience ROM. So let me set it offline and type on next. Let's quickly do this. Let me skip this as well, and our phone should now boot to the OS within a few seconds. Let me skip that as well, and with this we are now in the Pixel ROM, and now we don't have any restart option or the DSU Sideloader app. So even if you do a restart, your phone will again boot to the same base firmware, which in my case built with the Pixel ROM. So guys, on that note, I round off this video. If you have any queries, do let me know in the comment section, and guys, please like this video and subscribe to this channel for more tips and tricks. Thanks a lot for watching.